we'll just.
Welcome to the Weasel. Welcome to the Weasel. Whip out your dicks and shove them in your ass. Welcome to the Weasel with Mike and Jonah.
Bro, how embarrassing would it be to get to the gulag? Like you're fucking in the gulag, and then you drop down, and everybody else like, oh, they got Jonah. What you in for? I'm like, yeah, this guy strangled me to death. They're like, oh, like from behind, like so he snuck up behind you, got you in like a headlock, took you out.
No.
No, front facing
Barehanded.
strangle. Yeah, barehanded strangle. They're like, oh shit, man, that's fucked up. Like we all just got shot, but
Oh man. Do you think is that how you imagine the afterlife? Is a gulag?
I mean, if there's gonna be, I figured that there's all versions. If you're gonna believe in heaven and hell, might as well and believe in everything in between.
Yeah, gulag.
And somewhere in between is a gulag.
Mm. Well, there's this concept of purgatory, and I guess you could akin the gulag to that. Gulag to that is like the space in between your judgment to heaven and hell. Some people believe that there is no hell; it's just purgatory, and then you go through and you experience, like I guess like all your karma comes back and affects you in that space until you've paid it all back. However, you can do that. I don't know. Maybe you can't. I'm not sure. That seems like a complicated conversation, but
So in theory, if like you were like mostly a good dude, like maybe every once in a while you, I don't know, you like you stole a pack of gum, or you like strangled a man to death front facing, and you got to purgatory, like how long you in for comparatively to someone that just had like their entire life was like destruction and devastation.
well, maybe it's not about a matter of how long you're in there. Maybe it's more a matter of the intensity of the punishment and or judgment during that period of time, right? Because I guess I kind of imagine it like this timeless space where maybe time is moving at the same pace as like here on Earth, but your perception of it is completely different, right? And like when you're in a dream, right, and you experience like that shift in that shift in time where it feels like it's just forever. You're in this dream, and then you wake up, you're like, oh fuck, and then it sticks. One of those dreams that sticks with you throughout the day or whatever. But like I guess I'm kind of imagining purgatory or the gulag in this sense being like, say you're like just been a real cunt of a dude your entire life,
Sure.
right?
Not hard to imagine. Go on.
But also you had fucking you had like your organ donor card, right? So like you donated your organs after you died and it actually saved a couple people's lives, right? Now, I imagine you're going to be in the space of purgatory the same amount of time, right? But your perception of that will be more so. Maybe your perception of being in there will be longer, but the punishment won't be as severe, right? Instead of getting your toes cut off and then force fed them to you and then you have to shit them out your dick, right? Maybe it's just getting your toes cut off and them being shoved up your ass. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's something like that. Or maybe because he was a cunt, he has to get his toes cut off, force fed to him, and then shit him out his dick. But he only has to do that for what he perceives as being 2,000 years as opposed to 20,000 years because he had his donor card and donated his organs.
I see what you're saying there. I mean, at some point, if that's just your day, like you get used to it. Not like what's the difference between 2,000 and 3,000 at that point? You're just another day shitting
Right.
out your own toes.
Well, I guess the way I'm looking at it is if I ran Purgatory, right, and I had the ability to do all these things, I probably also have the ability to make you relive the same feeling of it happening the first time every time. You know what I mean? Because you're in like a spiritual space, right? You're not bound by the rules of the physical world anymore. It's now your pain receptors aren't reliant on chemicals getting released by your brain when the pain actually, like, when the damage happens. It's now just the pain is directly on your spiritual self. Yeah. So like now I'm torturing your very soul or very essence of whatever it is that's left of you. Your body can be in pain, and then you're right, eventually it just is like, yeah, well, this is day like 3,926 and a half of shitting my own toes out my dick. But you know, my dick hole's the size of toes now. Not so in my Purgatory. Your dick hole shrinks every time. Perfect healing every single time, I reckon.
I don't know, dude. I reckon if I was a cunt my entire life, but I had my organ donor card and I got dropped into your Purgatory, I mean, I think at some level, dude, I'd try to overthrow you, but like subtly, like I'll just be just little comments to the torturers every now and then, you know, be like, hey, fucking, I mean, get a load of this guy, am I right? Thinks he's all that, and then just over time, over all the days of shitting toes out my dick, just before you know it, I develop a bit of a kinship with your employees, and I plant the seed and it grows into a furious garden of revolution.
Well, that's beautiful. I love that shit, you know? I really do love a bit of revolution. I know you know this, too. I love planting seeds of revolution in the minds of people that are willing and able and just had enough up to fucking here with whatever the situation is. And you know what? You're not wrong, dude. I'm sure there's going to be some worker gripes and complaints from the torturers themselves, dude, as is in every industry. There's demands that have to be met to keep the opinions of the workers and the morale high enough to have them continue doing these stressful, probably draining, like emotionally draining jobs. I mean, you can imagine like having to witness a fucking dude being actually acting like being the one to force feed a dude his own toes that you've just cut off his own feet. And then, watching him as he shits them out of his own dick, right? Like, eventually it's going to either make you just dead to the world or dead to Purgatory, or you're just going to fucking hate your life, right? And nobody wants to go home to their partner after a long day of work and just be a 1,000-yard stare. Just can't stop thinking about that dude shitting out his own toes, you know? What do you talk to your partner about at that, you know? I mean, you imagine two gay demons that are loving each other to fucking high hell, right? And, but every once in a while that one just kind of stares off just into space and Brad just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. I mean, how do you approach that conversation? I mean, your partner's job, there's no job progression in sight. It's just dude's cutting off toes, watching him as he force feeds him and fucking shits him out his own dick every day for the rest of eternity until what? The end? Until the company liquidates? Is there some kind of like, system in place to help these demons, once the judgment day finally does come and all these people's souls eventually do go to heaven for the rest of eternity? Like, then what? What happens to the demons? Well, that's something that I, as the runner of Purgatory, am just going to have to solve before that time comes. I'm working on it. It's difficult. It's very difficult to watch markets highs and lows. It's very complicated, but right now there's a good influx of souls. There's pretty good influx of, I mean, listen, in most jobs, your hands are tied in some things, like, you know, safety concerns and stuff like that. But not Purgatory, man. They just give us free reign. Well, I give them free reign to do whatever torture they deem fit, you know. And one of them, this is really beautiful, is that you might plant a seed of dissent among the workers, right?
Sure.
But I've already gathered the brightest bunch of demon minds that I can. They're already thinking. It's 4D chess, man. You might think you're planting a seed, and then you might spend thousands of years of your purgatorial existence plotting and getting closer and closer to, like, yeah, man, I'm fucking feeling, you know, every mind that I change is making this toes shit out my dick a little bit nicer. And then you get to the end, right? And you're like, yeah, now's the time to rise. And they all rise, and they all get behind you, and they follow you all the way up to my office, all the way up to the top. And they knock on the door, you knock on the door, and you come in. I'm like, all right, yeah, come on in. And you've got all these workers, they're like, ah, behind you, like, ah, right? And then it turns out, after all this time, that was one night in your mind. All that work and effort that you put into planting the seeds, all the joy and the ecstaticness you felt that got you through shitting your own toes out your front of your dick, right, for thousands of years, it was one dream. And actually, none of these demons are behind you. They've not joined you up, right? And then that just keeps happening over and over and over again. The crushing realization that you accomplished zero, and also you still have thousands more years of actually shitting your toes out of your dick to go, until finally, at one point, we break your mind.
Yeah,
but we're fair though. We do have a gym, and we've got coffee machines. All right, so you do get some kind of reprieve. You know what I mean? Like, we're not assholes in Purgatory.